nucleus inside me. Agony, misery, pain just ignite me. Like an atom which eyes did not see. Touch me and I'll go tick-tock, toxic.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first video of FL Studio tutorial series. I'm Edrap and I've been using FL Studio to compose my own beats for over 2 years now. I'd be more than happy to share with you everything I know about this awesome digital audio workstation. If you happen to speak Persian, I've provided the videos with Persian translations, so just click on the link below to be directed to the Persian version of these tutorials. We are going to work on FL Studio 20, but if you have any other version of FL, you won't need to worry since they all work the same. With newer versions, FL gets cooler appearance and a few newer plugins. So, with any earlier version, you'd still be good to go. Okay, let's start. When you open FL Studio, you see this page on your screen. Don't panic if there are many items and buttons in front of you. I'll explain most of them in this video, so at the end of this session, you will have a better understanding of how FL works and what these keys and buttons are. Here on the top left-hand corner, you can find the menus. In the File menu, you can open your projects, save them, and open your recently used and saved projects. We have the Edit menu, the Add menu. Here is one of the places where you can use your plugins and VSTs. Patterns, to work on your patterns. View, Options, Tools, and Help. Don't worry, we'll get through all of them in details and learn and use them as much as possible to compose our music in later sessions, but now I would just like to give you a general overview of the workstation. Below the menus, you can see the hint panel. It shows you the name of whatever your mouse pointer is on. For example, it shows play or pause now, or stop. It also shows the values in number as you reduce or increase them, such as volume. In FL Studio, you can select most items with a left click and get the options for that item with a right click, except for the playlist area and the piano roll. With most knobs, you can simply right click and choose Reset. Next to the menus, there is the master volume and here is the master pitch. We don't need them now for quite a while, so let's just leave them as they are until we need them. Here is the pattern song mode. It means if pattern mode is on, you'll hear one individual pattern only. If it is on song mode, you'll hear the whole song, all the elements together. This is the play pause button, stop button, record, that's your tempo. You can left click and move it up or down, or you can right click and choose a preset value. You can type in a value, or tap to get your preferred tempo. We won't need these buttons for a couple of sessions. Let's get back to them at a later time. Here is pattern. Different elements of your music are mostly made on patterns, such as drums, melodies, chord progressions, bass lines, and so on. Then the patterns go on the playlist, which I will explain in a minute. Okay. Let's create a pattern. Just press this plus button. I will name it kick and give it a color. It goes right here on the left side of my playlist for easy access. Here are the patterns, here are the audio files, and here are the automation clips, which are none now, but we are going to make some. Okay, beside pattern, there is the playlist viewer. You can hide or show it. You put all your patterns and other elements, such as risers, on the playlist. These tools help you manipulate the items. The Paint tool, which inserts patterns one by one with a left click and removes them with a right click. The Brush tool, which inserts multiple patterns by holding the left mouse button and removes them with the right button. We have also the Slice tool, the Delete tool, etc. You can use them and see how they work. You could hold your mouse pointer on them and see what they are called, and according to what they are called, you can probably guess what they are used for. But no worries, we are going to use and learn them all in our tutorial series, so be subscribed to get my next videos first. Beside the playlist viewer, there is the piano roll where you put in your chords and music notes. It has almost the same tools as the playlist. Down here, you can change the velocity of your notes, pan them, and do many other cool stuff. Here is the channel rack, which is by default like this. It has these 4 samples on it. They can be removed, replaced, or edited. Just right-click to get the options. You can also add more samples or instruments here. On the step sequencer, there are 4 bars and each bar has 4 beats. That is also changeable for different rhythms. These knobs are for volume and panning. This number here indicates which channel of the mixer this sample is being sent to. You can change it here, or open the sample by left-clicking and change it right here. This is our mixer. For example, the kick is being sent to the channel. So if I play anything on the kick, the first channel of the mixer shows reaction. The same is true for hats, snare, and all other instruments and samples. I just removed them for now. You could put all your instruments and samples on one pattern only. Here on the top, you can change the appearance of the mixer. And here on the right, you can add effects for each channel. You can add multiple effects too. You can simply pick a plugin, such as reverb, or delay, or anything else, replace it, or simply delete it. Down here, it shows you how the channels are routed. By default, they are all routed to the master channel, but you could change it. We will get back to that for mixing. Here you can change the volume and panning. You could also right-click and make automation clips to change the values throughout the song. We will learn that too. Okay, let's just reset these values. I'm going to give different tutorials on each of these panels and windows through which we are going today. A single video on the channel rack, one on the playlist, one on the piano roll, and so on. Here beside the mixer, you find the browser, which gives you all the data stored in your computer. There is this packs folder by default in which you could find hundreds of drum samples, affixes, instruments, chants, etc. Here, for example, you can pick up an 808, drag it, and put it on the kick we already have on the channel rack to replace it. Or you could pick up an instrument like a piano, drag it, and drop it on the channel rack. It takes a moment to load. You could also use your plugins such as Morphine or Sakura. Okay, I hope that's not too much information for today. I'll just make a couple of simple patterns to help you get started. I already have a kick pattern, so I design it, as well as a pattern for snare and one for hats. You can right-click on your samples, choose piano roll to get your notes. I'm using these default samples for the sake of time, but we will use other samples in later videos. I'll also add a piano, give it a color, and some arpeggios. So please notice that when one pattern is selected, whatever you do on the channel rack and on the piano roll happens to that pattern. So if you want to work on your piano pattern, just select the piano. If you want to work on your kick pattern, select the kick. If you want to work on your arpeggios, select the arpeggios. I'm going to give a tutorial on chord progressions and how they match with melodies. But for now, just know that normally we use major or minor chords. Major is the note, the fourth half note, and the seventh. Minor is made up of the note, the third half note, and the seventh. So, for example, let's go to our piano, right-click on the instrument, and choose piano roll. Here, I would like to make an A minor chord. A minor is A, the bass note, 1, 2, 3 half steps, which is C, and 4, 5, 6, 7, which is E. And here is a major chord, a G major chord. The bass note is G, 1, 2, 3, 4 half notes, B, and 5, 6, 7, D. See how the third half note and the fourth are set here? And one F major, and one more G major. You can select your notes with Ctrl A or holding Ctrl and selecting with the left button on your mouse. Ctrl up or down moves them one octave higher or lower, and Shift, left click, drag copies them. It's a good idea to put a bass note an octave lower for our chords. Okay, for arpeggios, we could just use the notes from the chords. I will copy them and add them to a new plugin to work on them. I could do the same thing on the same piano roll where the chord progression is, but that gives me less freedom to manipulate the pattern. So let's give it a mixer channel too. And arrange it a bit. I would also like to add a bass line to my music. That gives it a better atmosphere. So I'll make a new pattern called bass. I'll give it a color. And I'll select morphin. Here I'll choose my instrument. And for the bass line, I prefer to put the bass notes only for now, but exactly where my kick hits. I copy my bass notes from the piano and paste them on the bass piano roll. So I copy my kick notes and paste them on the bass piano roll. And just set them like the kicks are. You could sometimes add a note 1 octave higher or 1 octave lower too. That's also good. We will learn more complex bass lines later. I'm not going to add effects on the mixer channels now. We will do it later.
Particles accelerating my mind as many seats rest, relax, unwind. The words collide, that's the soul's delight. All the odds defied, cause the loss denied. My arm's opinion, you got dominion over me. However, I'm not obedient. Press me, burn me, I'll be more brilliant. Since you're the villain, I'm indeed resilient. Might come to you, find out what to do. Either be the night of night, you could vibe a dark crew, fight tight right through, or be miraculous but a lick of
Good. That's our first beat together.
Agony, misery, pain, just ignite me like an atom which eyes did not see. Touch me and I'll go.
Keep trial and error, nothing bad happens. Just save your projects to go back to them at any time. Don't forget, practice makes perfect. Have fun and thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.